Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Shaman call here. We're talking about shamans and gearing in Tier 4. I'm excited for this call because obviously I play a shaman, so it's exciting for me to talk about this. But it's great that I have you guys here because I have done no research, and man, I am like completely uneducated when it comes to shamans. So for the first, everyone comes into my stream and they're like, "Hey, like, what do shamans?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's a great question. That's really good." But now we got you guys here, so we got the perfect trio here for me to learn about shamans, and because I'm spending all my time doing garbage. Anyway, let's get right into it. Let's talk about shamans first from the perspective of a loot master. Okay, so if I am a loot master and I have, it's Burning Crusade. I've got 17 shamans in my group or whatever. I don't. It's obviously,
Perfect.
I've got all these shamans that are now running. It's the warrior problem from classic, but now everyone's switching to shaman because they're like, oh man, I have such great utility. I get instant invites to every group. I'm a shaman. Like, okay, who do I give gear to? Am I giving gear to my Resto shamans? Am I giving gear to my enhancement shamans? Am I giving gear to my elemental shamans first? As a loot master, right? Prioritizing that loot. And then the other question there, in that same vein, is, hey, our token shares with shaman tokens. They share it with paladins and they share it with rogues. So who do I give the token to? Am I giving it to shamans, or am I giving it to my tank paladin first? Am I giving it to like all that? So Meldereon, if you would be so kind as to be the first here, what do you think about shamans from a loot master's perspective in Tier 4? Where am I ranking my shamans in gear, just in a general sense?
I mean, so there's a lot of ways you could look at this. The first one is, I would say that shamans are essentially, in my opinion, the workhorses of each raid group, right? They are going to be your bloodlusts, obviously. But number two, they're probably, and this isn't 100%, we're still trying to figure this out, but like, they're probably going to be your drummers too, right? So it's at least in phase 1 or Tier 4. So I don't know. It's going to be they're very, very integral part of the raid. So I think you should reward them for being that. We can get into, like, if you want, I don't know how deep you want to go into how loot council should work. But we also try to be very fair in when we were doing loot council. We'd set prios, and then we'd go into, the next level would be after we've set prios, like how do you be fair and say, like, well, Johnny got 5 pieces of gear last week, we shouldn't give him another one. So there's that aspect of it too, right? Like, it's not just what piece is best for the right person, because then you start to lose people. So it's a balance you have to strike. Yeah. At least that's what we did.
Okay. Let's Rulerdragon Tomaka. Do you guys have any kind of difference on that? Do you think enhancement shamans or elemental shamans have a call to their gear first? I mean, obviously, as a shaman, you're gonna want to be like, yeah, I need it. Rulerdragon, what do you think about Tier 4 shaman enhancement and the gearing phase? What are we looking at as a shaman going into Tier 4? What are we looking at?
Well, that's the thing when you were talking about earlier that we share our Tier 4 with, what'd you say, paladins and rogues.
Yeah.
Our Tier 4 is a weird set. It's even though we have like the later itemization, it's still like not a great set. At most, you'd ever want to wear like 2 pieces of it to get the, like, I think it's like the Strength of Earth bonus. But even then, like, you don't even have to wear any Tier 4. You could wear top to bottom off-piece rogue gear and be totally fine. So for prio on those pieces, I'd honestly just say give them to whoever wants them, because for me, Tier 4 is going to be like a backup plan. If I don't get the other things I want, I'll wear the headpiece and the shoulders on Tier 4. But otherwise, it's like, and plus it's really ugly, and that bothers me. So, I don't know. I really don't like silver water, the set. Like, it's not my thing. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's not.
Correct if I'm wrong, Rulerdragon, but I don't think we have any Tier 4's top as far as EP is concerned for enhancement. Correct?
No, it's really not great. Yeah, it's like a side grade at best, and then the 2-piece is situationally useful.
Yeah.
I think for an elemental shaman perspective, at least like the 2-piece for the T4 is really, really important, because you're able to give yourself an extra 20 spell power for your Wrath of Air totem, which can help buff your warlocks in your pumper group, and you might have a boomkin in there too. It might be like a 3 warlock, 1 boomkin, 1 AoE shaman. That's 100 total spell power that's able to go out to that main group, and that's pretty big. And for us, it's just trying to figure out like where those two pieces kind of slot in. And I think personally, it seems to be the headpiece and the shoulders seem to work the best in terms of filling out those pieces of gear. Now for the 4 set, it's kind of in the air. I mean, it depends on the length of fight. It is able to kind of help your mana, but I have to do some more testing, especially whenever BC starts, to see how well LE Shamans do in terms of mana efficiency. I know in Classic there was a lot of issues with mana, and that was always the big question mark when it came to Elemental Shamans. So with all the different things like water shield, as well as some of the other clear casting changes, I'm very curious to see how the mana efficiency holds up.
Yeah, so
Okay, let's talk about Resto Shamans then, Meldereon. What are we looking at with Resto Shamans and Tier 4? Are they looking at specific pieces? Do they want all of their tier set? Do they want just 2 pieces?
Let's see. So 2, looks like there's going to be your BIS for phase 4 is only 2 piece, looks like.
2 piece, okay.
Yeah, which is your Mana Spring Totem ability grants an additional 3 MP5, which is 3 MP2, which is not really anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cyclone Headdress and Cyclone Shoulder Pads looks like the only thing you want is Resto as far as BIS is concerned. So I don't think across the boards, I don't think Shamans are really care about tier pieces, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Tier 4 is kind of a wash, honestly.
Yeah.
it's kind of like, okay, I don't have that piece yet. I'll take it. We'll see. I mean, I guess I have to talk to the Paladins and the Rogues and see what they actually want. We'll see. I'm sure they'll be thirsty for gear.
And then for Ellie, it's just kind of like the ability to just kind of buff everybody, just give that extra.
Yeah, I was thinking it sounds like a lot like the Atiash buff that you just give a party buff to your whole team. Spell power.
That's like,
yeah,
that's like the whole LA Shaman thing right now, at least for going into BC. There's just a lot of different support things that they can provide for casters between Bloodlust, and if you do a lot of the working, you have the Drums of Battle, you have the Wrath of Air Totem. There's just so many, or Totem of Wrath as well. It's just, there's so many different things that you can do to provide increased damage for your casters.
What does your 2-piece do again? Does it give you 20 extra spell power?
It gives 20 extra spell power on my Wrath of Air, so it basically gives 20 extra spell power to every person in your group then. So it's 100 total spell power.
Does Wrath of Air stack? Like if you had 4 Shamans in the group, can you all drop it and it all stacks?
Totem of Wrath stacks currently, I think, for what I saw from the beta, but I didn't see anything for that's the crit. That's the crit and hit one. So it's 3% crit, 3% hit. But I haven't seen Wrath of Air stacking yet.
Because I saw people stacking 4 Shamans and a Boomkin in one group and just pumping stupid damage.
rolling Bloodlust. Oh my god.
Dude. Yeah.
That would be so amazing. Do we know?
That's my dream.
I don't want to incur the wrath of the Banhammer. Do we know if that's a bug, the Totem Wrath stacking yet, or no? It might be intended. There's a lot of things that are weird that are intended. So
yeah,
I don't know. Nobody's
that's
really
the new meta, guys. 4 LE Shamans and a Boomkin. I'm sorry, Warlocks.
just don't submit any bug reports and we'll be fine.
Sorry, Warlocks. This is our expansion.
I'm hiding in the bushes for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you submit a bug report, they'll fix it. It's like the I was talking to the mages last week and they were saying, "Oh, the Evocate change got fixed." I was like, "Oh man, who submitted a bug report? Evocate got fixed apparently."
That was Evocate. I think you said Innervate. It was Innervate. That was all def. That was all def cam.
It was Innervate. Okay.
Innervate.
Well, I don't know. Innervate was like broken in an arena, dude. If you popped Innervate, it was like 100% mana bar in like a second.
Oh, okay. It might have been that.
Yeah. So the everyone fighting against druids was pretty mad. So that got fixed really quick. Yeah.
Oh,
They
okay.
should
Yeah.
just get used to that anyway. I mean, that's what it's going to be like.
Yeah, they're already mad.
mad.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Okay. So Holderek, what am I looking at as an enhancement shaman in tier 4? What gear am I shooting for? Is there any specific like off pieces that I want from like Magtheridon's Lair or Gruul's Lair? Or, I mean, Karazhan. Obviously, that's all tier 4. But what?
I don't know how you're going to edit this, but I can do that little screen pop-up thing again and kind of show you.
Sure.
I might just be like a tiny little square.
It's
and
gonna be a tiny
not
one,
actually
yeah.
help anybody at all. Yeah, but whatever.
Oh, nice.
But so basically, I have a couple different versions of this again, and with the current blacksmithing changes, oh my god, is it reversed? Is it backwards? Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like it's flipped. Whatever. With the current blacksmithing changes, we were gonna dual wield blacksmithing weapons, and we were going to dual wield blacksmithing hammers. But everything's kind of up in the air right now with testing and everything else. But it's still looking like something like a main hand blacksmith weapon. And an offhand, yes, like arena weapon is going to be like your best bet. because there's really not a good offhand that exists in this tier. Like there's a couple ones you could use, but the weapon speed is just too fast. The only thing you really end up using is I know it's like I'm literally a tiny square with backwards text. This is pointless.
I'm squinting.
The Harvester of Souls in just flip the video in editing. Okay, just
it's flipped. It's fine on my screen. It's good.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. On mine, it's totally backwards. There's the Harvester of Souls that you'd get from Crypts. That's a decent offhand. You can also just use the blue PvP weapons, like the High Warlord's Cleaver. Those will be like next to just trip over and get them. The High Warlord's Cleaver and the Harvester of Souls are both pretty good. There's also the Firebrand Battle Axe, just because it has expertise. But beyond that, that's like your only options for an offhand. So you're gonna main hand either Black Planner Edge or the Drakefist Hammer. Yeah. Or, if you don't want to go blacksmithing, you'll have like the Decapitator to work with, which is still a pretty good axe. But yeah, that's it for weapons. As per like the rest of your pieces, it's all rogue off pieces, like all of it, top to bottom.
Okay, so we're just gonna.
Yeah, Shaman looks like a rogue. I mean, it looks
it's literally a recolored rogue.
It's an axe wielding rogue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, dude, use an invisibility pot, scare the crap out of people, dude.
And just one shot them.
I mean, we should probably bring up the Dragonspine trophy. I think that's the biggest. Like, who do you give that to first? You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Dragonspine trophy coming out of Gruul's Lair.
I mean, I don't like. Again, we're going loot list in TBC. That's our plan. So I don't know. Who do you give that to? It's a tough one, right? That's a really tough one.
You get a little grease to your palms a little bit. Get your little dragon.
I mean, my opinion is it should go to the Shaman just because I said so. But I mean, like, it's obviously going to be like, you and the hunters are going to have a fist fight, and whoever comes out of that, life or death duel first is going to win. I mean, I think the hunters have a really good case for it. I think honestly, Shamans have a good case for it. It's just really going to be like how many drop and how often it drops. But I'm going to always be in the corner of my Shaman boys. I think they should at least get a chance to bid on it or get a chance to spend DKP on it. If you're doing loot council, I don't know. We don't really do that. So we've done like EPGP the entire game. So it just all comes down to who has the most points, gets the stuff. On like rare exceptions, like if only one class uses two-handers in a raid, i.e. enhancement shamans, they get that stuff first. But I don't know. I'm not gonna step on anybody's toes and say like forget the hunters, they don't deserve it, because obviously they do. But it's just come down to who are your biggest pumpers, who try really hard every time, who show up every time, who put in the extra effort. They should get that thing because they're going to be wearing it most of the game. So
right. That's the thing with loot counts. Another aspect of it too. It's like you can make prios, and honestly, if we were doing loot counts on TBC, this would be equal prio. We would make this equal prio. We wouldn't make it hunters over shaman or shaman over hunters, and then we would go to the next step, which is the person, right? Like the person means a lot in loot council decisions, right? Does person come consume every raid? Do they come on time? Are they helpful? Those are big things. So, as far as like. I think you, as the listener of this, as the player, have a lot to do with the decision of loot council.
Yeah. It's. I mean, that's the big takeaway, right? It's like a lot of the times, like you quote, bring the player, not the class, and you can decide whether or not you subscribe to that belief if you want to. Yeah. But I think, like a person who tries as hard as they possibly can every raid, shows up every raid, fully consumed, just like min-maxes themselves to the ridiculous degree. Like obviously, you should let them get their bish trinket.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Attack Fang. Let's start talking about Elemental. Let's see what Elemental's doing. Obviously, we have all this gear from dungeons and the raids themselves. Is there specific pieces? I mean, there's Lightning Capacitor. I think that's basically the trinket that every Elemental Shaman is going to want. Is there anything? We can talk about that in a minute. But is there anything other than that sticks out to you as an item that people want or elemental shamans want over other people, or just in general they want and you should fight tooth and nail for it?
I do think we talked about this a little bit before, but the T4 two-piece is just from how much it can buff or help out the raid. I mean, that's the 100 spell power is definitely nothing that can be scoffed at. It's just that's a lot to be able to help pump. I know for Gruul's Lair, there's a couple things I know they're going to be extremely contested between the Ellie Shamans and the rest of the casters. The Brute Cloak of the Ogre Magi, that's going to be a big one. I know that that's considered for me one of my best pieces, but you might fight against a Warlock and a Mage to be able to try to get that piece, and so there's going to be a lot of contention with that. And also the Wind Shear Boots as well. That one, I like the spell hit on it. And I know that with Ellie Shamans, you probably only want like 1 or 2 pieces of gear that have hit on it because you're so close to hit cap already. But the Wind Shear Boots, it just has like just a lot of good stats on it, has a good spell hit. But I think that one you're probably going to end up losing out on against other Warlocks and other casters just because of how much natural hit you have. So they might need to get a lot more to get where they need to go. Whereas you can get away with like, crafting Spell Strike pants and then maybe getting like a neck piece on top of that and be able to get closer to your hit cap, which again is not completely necessary. You just have to go through and run your sims to be able to see how it matches up with EP versus stuff that might have more crit or spell power. But yeah, I think those are probably the ones that are going to be the most contested, at least for the 25-man raids.
Okay, is there anything in Karazhan? Oh, well, let's talk about Lightning Capacitor because I mentioned it. We mentioned it a little bit before we started recording. It's got lightning in the name, so it should go to an elemental shaman.
It's clear. I mean, it has lightning capacitor or lightning in the name of lightning capacitor. You pretty much have to give it to them. But the reason why it's so important for Ellie Shamans to get lightning capacitor, and it is extremely important, is that it's not just, as I've sim so far, it's not just the best for phase 1. It's the best for phase 2. It's the best for phase 3. And then when you start going into phase 4 and 5, that's when it starts to get into contention depending on how the proc rate works. But there's a lot of interactions that with Ellie Shaman that work. They have some of the fastest casts in the game, at least for Lightning Bolt. You have a 2-second cast and a Chain Lightning that's a 1.5 seconds. You can use Elemental Mastery if you have 0 procs. Actually, if you get Elemental Mastery and hit it on 3 targets, when you have 0 charges, it actually will fill all 3 of the procs and proc it at the same time. And so that's massive to me because a lot of times there's like a 2.5-second internal cooldown in Lightning Capacitor.
Yeah.
So the ability to be able to just use Elemental Mastery and use Chain Lightning to be able to get multiple procs at the same time in the same global cooldown, that's massive. I mean, that's something that Warlocks won't be able to do. That's something Mages won't be able to do. And so the inherent DPS for Lightning Capacitor is going to be so much bigger on an Ellie Shaman compared to your Warlocks and your Mages.
Yeah. And then you have Lightning Overload too, so your effective casts per minute and crits per minute are higher than just standard cast time times percent of your crits, because then you have a 20% chance of. So Lightning Overload, the way it works is you have a 20% chance to cast an additional like Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning, and that's free. It doesn't cost anything. It just happens automatically. So essentially, you have a 20% increase to your crit. Not 20% more crit, but it's 20% more casts essentially that could crit is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I think that the way that you think about like the Warlock versus Ellie Shaman, I like to think of it as like your Warlocks are like your Mike Tysons. They swing heavy. They don't swing like really fast, but they have a lot of pack in their punch. When you go to Ellie Shamans and the Lightning Overload and just the way that the procs work, and the fast casting, they work more like a Manny Pacquiao. They just kind of it's like a fury of punches that come out and they do a decent amount of damage. They're the ones that are going to
explain it.
Yeah, they're just going at the speed bag, and they're going to be able to pop. Lightning. By the time that the Warlock is going to be able to get like a couple Shadow Bolts off, the Ellie Shaman's already done 3 or 4 Lightning Bolts and a Chain Lightning, and so that's just a way that you can continue to try to proc those charges for your Lightning Capacitor to be able to get it off.
And again, it has lightning in the name, so
yeah, lightning. I mean, come on.
It's for okay.
What
about? Go ahead, Older. What's up?
No, I was just gonna say, it's obvious, dude. That's it. It's got lightning in the name. It's not called the Fire Capacitor. It's not called the Shadow Capacitor. Get off the trinket, bro.
It's not the Arcane Capacitor.
Yeah, it's not the Arcane Capacitor. Get out of here.
All right, so Attack Fang, tell me about weapons for Elemental Shamans. Is there a specific weapon you're shooting for? I would know. I was talking to the mages, and they were talking about the Malkazar dagger. Malkazar dagger? and that basically shamans and anyone who can wield a dagger who can't wield a sword should be getting those weapons. Is that line up with your thoughts with elemental?
So yeah, I think the off prince, the Nathrezim's Mind Blade.
That's it. Yeah,
That's what it has, such a strong amount of spell power. Then crit that Ellie Shamans do really well with the additional crit, just from all the extra things that they can gain from it, like the clear casting procs. It's a really, really, really strong weapon, and yeah, that's gonna be a big knockdown, drag out war between all the other casters to be able to pick that up. But if you happen to be an Ellie Shaman that really loves fives, and maybe you like to do an all Ellie Shaman fives group, maybe try to get your way up to a high rating or a higher rating, and try to get the Gladiator Spell Blade. That's also pretty equivocal in terms of spell power. There's not as much crit on it, or any crit on it really, but that's your closest equivocal. And then after that, though, there's like a huge drop off. I mean, there's just relative differences there. It's pretty massive.
The weapons in phase 1 are just so weird. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
It's interesting that I could see season 1 PvP weapon being pretty easy to get for a 5-man elemental shaman team with no resilience in the game. I don't know, nature swiftness, elemental mastery, being able to get both those with a talent build, as long as you don't pick up your Totem of Wrath, and just like blowing people up.
I mean, if they all stand next to each other, that'd be really dumb.
Well, anybody who shows up, just be like, hey, why don't you go in there alone? Like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, I'm gonna go in.
They have to sacrifice one person.
Yeah, like, hey, and they just start the fight off 4v5 almost every time.
I mean, we proved that 15 of them in Classic seems to actually work pretty well for AB.
Yeah.
So maybe, just maybe, we just need to get a gang squad of Ellie Shamans to go.
I can see it.
That was so fun.
I can see it season 1 for sure. Seeing elemental shamans just dominate 5s, if you can actually get. And then what happens when you queue into another 5 elemental shamans, and who? It's just gonna be chain lightnings all over.
Whoever drops grounding totem first.
Oh yeah,
exactly. There you go. You're gonna have to get through all 5 grounding totems. Then.
Oh my god. that's the PvP I'm striving for. That's what I want to see. Elemental shamans versus each other. Oh my god. Okay. Meldereon, can you talk about Resto Shamans at all in the gearing process? Is there any trinkets or weapons we should be prioritizing to the Resto Shamans?
It's a hard thing to say that a shaman should get it over a priest, or priest raid healing is going to be really good. I think people underestimate how good priest raid healing is. I'm not saying that Resto Shamans are going to be great. They're going to do very well. They have the chance of being the best healer in TVC, I think. But I mean, it's stiff competition. I mean, Light's Justice, which drops off Prince. I mean, who do you give that to? I don't think a Resto Shaman would get a claim over it. Like, I wouldn't prioritize one healer over another. It's okay. Even a paladin, like, tank healing is important. So yeah. I just don't see them having a claim, unless it's like a shield. But then paladins can use shields too, right? So it's not just them. I don't know. I just don't see it's a clear like Resto Shaman should get this over another healer. Do you know what I mean? I mean, except for a totem, which is only they can use.
Right.
So yeah. Again, I'm not a Resto expert. I'm not playing Resto in TBC.
Right.
So yeah.
It's interesting to me. Just talking about shamans in general, I got to run a Karazhan yesterday, and Shade of Iran is such a movement-heavy fight. Even though when Flame Wreath is cast, you can't move, but everything else about it's like, okay, dodge the blizzards, don't stand next to him, you have to cast, you have to move away from him because he's constantly interrupting any spellcasters. As a shaman, I was like, oh man, this is rough. This is like, I wish I was a priest. Like, throw out a renew, throw out a bubble, like I can at least do something while moving, other than Earth Shield or NS someone. So it was interesting to see how powerful the other classes are. Druid, Resto Druid, a priest, being able to do at least something on the move for these movement-heavy fights, which I assume we'll see more in TBC. I'm not a TBC expert. I was complete garbage when TBC came out originally, so I remember just getting carried through basically everything. And so we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
I mean, it was a lot clearer in vanilla. Like, Scarab Brooch was a shaman rest healing trinket. Like, it just was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that clear in my opinion anymore. At least with tier 4. Yeah.
I mean, that's really the trend that I've seen with a lot of things, and like the reason why, like I've made 3 BIS videos now, and like every single time I make a new one, it's like something gets updated. Because honestly, there's just a lot of different choices for a lot of different reasons that you could take X, Y, or Z, and it would still work out fine. There honestly isn't this is the absolute best thing you could possibly do in all situations forever. That's just not a thing anymore. So people are going to actually have to like take parameters and use their brain and go from there. That's going to be hard, but I believe in people. I really do.
And I think for LE Shamans at least too, like there's a lot of really good theory crafting, and also just like a lot of just doing like simulations on like DPS based on gear sets and stuff. I know that Egregious has a really good spreadsheet that he used for multiple, basically all the tiers down, and there's a little more rotational base.
Yeah.
Logarithm has another one too that's more based on the gear, and also you can kind of see like based off of the amount of simulations that you do, and you can kind of like swap in and out gear. And then I know that Rulerdragon created one as well with Tomaka that has one that's more based on the gear and just the stat weights and stuff. So you can kind of blend all 3 of them together, and you can kind of try to get your own picture to see like what it could be the best relative upgrade for you, or like what stat is more important for you right now versus like hit versus crit versus spell power versus int versus MP5.
Yeah, I was interesting. I think it's interesting to see also the things that mean like, okay, well, this might not be perfect for me, but this might help my team out more, right? Like tier 2, we're saying the 2-set elemental stuff, or I think it was the ribbon dropped from the Wizard of Oz in that Kara, and I was like, oh man, I completely forgot about this trinket. It increases the healing received by the target for 10 seconds. So if you pop a quick heal on someone, I gotta look to see how it interacts. But does it help other healers heal that person as well by giving them a little like 50 extra healing received for the next 10 seconds on every target? So if I chain heal everybody, do they all get this anyway? So it's not a very good video right now for me giving out information because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But
you're fine, dude. You're fine.
That's just what I like about TBC so far has been, and what I've had with these conversations so far, and this is the second one, is that it's been like, hey, BIS lists don't work. Like they're fun to put it together and they're fun to theorycraft, but as you play the game, it doesn't mean you're gonna ever see that item drop, right? I know.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it?
You want to have like almost like a couple backups for every item. And I was even saying that back in phase 1 classic when I made my first BIS list. I'm like, you should never just like tunnel vision this.
Yeah.
Like you have to use this as a guideline and then build around it. If you don't get X, Y, or Z item, you have to understand how if you change this and this, it can equate to about the same thing. But it's fine. You don't have to have the exact items on this list. You'll be okay.
And I have a really terrible story to share for something like that too. I was raiding on my LE Shaman in Classic. I was looking for Pauldrons of Elemental Fury. They're the BIS, they're trash drop. Only LE Shamans can really use it because it's male. So it's like perfect, right? 5 months go by, never drops. And then my guild asked me to tank on my warrior for 4 horsemen. So I get in. The very first mob we kill, and the very first time my warrior step foot with my guild in that, Pauldrons of Elemental Fury drop. And it's one of those things, is a lesson of, like, you don't know when things are going to drop. You can't just assume that you're
never
going to
help
everything.
your guild. Just always
just never. Just always
tank on your shaman.
On Barry forever.
Tank on your shaman. You could do it. You could totally tank Lady Blamew on your shaman. I believe in you.
Oh, you definitely could.
You
yeah.
could do it.
Got my PvP gear and everything. I'm ready to go.
Dude, just Earth Shock, dude.
Yep. Tanking got kind of a couple notches put down in TBC, unfortunately, but
that's what I've heard. I'm like the last person on Earth to not have a beta invite, but everybody keeps telling me that like they're just constantly ripping thread off of tanks. I'm just like, oof.
Well, I kind of like it. I'm happy with that. I hate seeing the dual wielding Fury Warrior tank in Classic. I just think it's it just completely breaks my like fantasy of
breaks your immersion.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, that guy's the tank. Yeah, we have to give him Stone Shield potions.
He tanks by doing more damage.
Yeah, and you get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Thread is a lot more sensitive in TBC.
Yeah, and then they have to, and then tanks being like, well, this fight I have to build a little bit more threat because this is a threat drop in it or something, and then like actually changing your gear based on a, I need more defensive stuff, and then okay, hey guys, hey DPS, why don't you take a break for a second? Let me build a little threat up, like that doesn't happen. Like no one's like, oh, like okay, we have to actually play around the fact that this guy doesn't have insane threat. Okay, let's chill.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm happy with all of it. I mean, the thing that I'm honestly, and I've been saying this for months, the thing that I'm going to be literally the most happy about in TBC is the fact that I can die once and it doesn't ruin my entire raid.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you're not
I'll just
worried
use
about
my Ankh as a threat drop, easy. Like it's built in.
Yeah.
I already used it before. Whenever I died, I'd use it to gain more mana. Like I would be and like for like BWL for Nefarian, I would actually I would be and I would have like no world buffs at that point. I would just die and then
you
just
improve reincarnate. You had the two.
Yep. Yeah. And I would just use that as a little mana boost.
Nice.
It is so nice to die and not give a fuck. It is so nice.
Oh my god.
It's just
amazing.
My god. It's just
so much less stress. Much less stress.
It's a different game. It really is. It's a different game.
It's like almost fun. Yeah, weird.
TBC. The only thing vanilla has over TBC, in my opinion, is the leveling process. Everything else is, I mean, people don't even like it. Most people don't even like leveling, so I feel like I'm in that. But it's TBC is such a better game. My God, it's such a better game. It's crazy.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, one of these days I'll get a beta invite.
Dude, I literally have 2 servo arms. I can't. I try to equip both of them really, really quickly and see if it happens. I'm just like,
dude, you're gonna lose your mind.
My god! Dude, I saw Jamin. Jamin got a beta invite the other day. He's in the worst gear I've ever seen in my entire life. He's like level 58 boosted characters have like level 30 greens. Yeah. And he's just tearing through fell orcs like they're paper. And I'm like, bro.
Everyone's like, so I actually got it in Meldereon sitting next to me. I actually got it through their stream. I was sitting in their stream, Def Camp, Melderon's brother, streaming, and they were doing an art contest, and I was like, oh, dude, I can do paint. I know how to do paint stuff. Yeah, so they were doing like a 6-minute speed painting, and so I got through the beta.
He won. Yeah, he won fair and square. No stream privilege. He actually won.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
I posted them all in Discord too, and so one of my channel point options for my stream is to paint things. So people will add 100,000 channel points for these ridiculous people that sit in my stream and watch it for that long. I will paint them, and they can say whatever they want, and I'll try to paint it and try to figure it out. So we'll do it for So I've been using paint to try to paint stuff.
Can I get my beta invite?
That's
please?
a good art, dude. That's good art. Are those lightning bolts?
Those lightning bolts, yeah.
I wish we had more. They only gave us 20.
Oh my god.
But
yeah, so I got to play some Karazhan, running around trying to get gold farms, trying to be like, okay, well, because it's crazy, man. That's another thing I want to talk about with Shamans is like, okay, do we need to have an alt for gold farming or elemental enhancement? Can they gold farm? Is there things we're looking at that will be good for them?
I've been desperately trying to level a druid to be my gather bot, so I can do herbalism mining or herbalism leatherworking. And he's been at level 22 for a month and a half. So
it's rough.
I'm a boost him. I'm a boost him, dude. I can't. It's so bad.
Druid leveling is.
Bro, it's so bad. I even got cat form, and I'm like, this is still taking way too long. What is this class?
I know, dude. I feel the same way because then I leveled a rogue, and I'm like, this is so much better.
So easy.
I feel like, and then Barry, I think we're all, because we're drinking it right now. Druids are this. This is druids.
Druids are aha.
You take every other class and squeeze them through a filter, and then they get the taste of rogue, the taste of, and it's that's what it's
essence. It's like this druid cat form sat next to a rogue one day.
it's the hints of rogue DPS.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
It's just I hate talking shit on druids, but I just can't help it, man.
I understand. I get it. It's fun. You want to be everything at once. I get it, man. I get it, but it's just not for me. It's not for me, dude.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. There are some
Earth and Ring represent, dude. I kill that. I put myself at the Cenarian circle every day, and I kill that Cenarian circle representative by the flight tower every day, and I'm like, Earth and Ring, and people are like, oh, it's gang war up in here, dude.
That shit is funny. Yeah,
druids.
I mean, but like, I don't know, farming. Your question was farming. Sorry, we're like totally derailing.
No, it's all right. I don't mind. You guys are having fun, man.
10-minute diatribe on how druids suck.
I mean, like Holder said, I have 2 farming guys already leveled to 60, ready to go. Like because I'm gonna do 2 crafting. Either way, probably. I don't even know what's happening yet, but like everything's still in flux. But I guess like they could effectively go kill stuff really fast. Like that's definitely. Enhancement element are not going to have a problem killing things. It's like, will they have the ability to do like paladin level, money making? I don't think so. No, not that, unless I'm missing something, but.
What I've been excited about Burning Crusade is the fact that I feel like there's a lot more open world farms that are viable to do, as opposed to just sitting in Maradon and doing.
I just hope that the bots don't kill it. I mean, that's the thing that scares me, because I mean, there's just such a big problem. Yeah, oh god.
Yeah, it's gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think Elemental Plateau, and I remember this back in original BC being like, I just don't ever go there because I don't expect to ever be able to farm there effectively. It was always like, all right, let's just go find, let's go find the was it the Cleft Hoof? Is that the name of the thing? There's like a meat. You can get the meat for the attack power. There's there's fire elementals for primal fires, and there's so many different places you can go to actually farm and different things to farm, because there's food buffs, and I don't know. Classic has like, I guess it's like, you farm the world buffs now and give them to people to consume as consumables, as opposed to the way it is Classic. It's just like, oh, just go get your world buffs. Like, there's no economy for it. If there was an economy for world buffs, anyway, I'm going off on tangents. I'm excited to see Shamans. I hope. It seems like there's a couple little pieces of gear. Is there anything that sticks out to you that people should be shooting for Holderheck as an enhancement shaman, like straight up at the beginning of the phases in blue gear? Is there any like specific item that sticks out to you?
Yeah. So, I mean, well, I have a pre-raid set.
Yeah.
There's actually a couple items that people are going to want to get just from questing, which would last them a pretty decent amount of time until they can pick anything up. This is questions people ask me all the time, because they're like, I haven't played my shaman since phase 1. What can I do? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And there's these gloves you can get. I think they're in Netherstorm. They're called the Flesh Handler's gloves. They have expertise on them. Those are going to be lasting you at least until you can replace them in Karazhan.
Yep.
And like the first thing you really need to do is go out to Shadow Moon Valley and get the Stealther's Helmet of Second Sight. That's from that Terran Gorefiend quest, I think. That helmet will last you a long time. But I think that at the end of the day, it's going to be, you're going to have to go blacksmithing, you might have to go leatherworking, and you're going to want to try to speed rush that main hand weapon so you don't have to worry about a main hand weapon, and then you can just be disappointed in offhands for a very long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Attack Fang, is there anything you think, what's your elemental gearing idea for the very beginning of phase 1? What are you shooting for early on?
So that's an interesting question. I think what I'm actually going to end up doing, and it is kind of a play that I'm going to try to do whenever I'm going to first hit 70, is I'm going to start skinning to 300 before BC comes out. I'm all going to try to build all the pieces for leatherworking that go from 1 to 300 and have that sitting in my bank. And then when I level up, I'm going to try to get skinning up, because I think that's in terms of importance, that's probably the most important thing, is to be able to pick up those pieces of gear. Getting the Nether Strike 3 set is really massive, and so trying to get a head start there to build and craft your Nether Strike set. It's a 3-piece. It's a breastplate, a belt, and bracers, and then you can get 3 set bonus, gives you 23 spell power, if I remember correctly. And so, like, getting those is going to be big, and also a crafted piece like Spell Strike pants as well. Those things you're going to be able to stick around for and keep for pretty much all phase 1. And then for me personally, I still have all my stuff from Nax. I know that there's going to be some decent Nax carryovers. So if you have the opportunity right now and you're raiding, and you might be a Resto shaman that's looking up and saying, oh yeah, I want to be an LE shaman, or your current LE shaman right now, you might want to think about picking up some of the really good pieces that you could still have for a long period of time. Like, for example, Restrained Essence of Sapphiron is a really amazing trinket that you'll probably keep all the way up until you get the icon of Silver Crescent, which is pretty much like that, but just a slightly larger version of that. And like, just try to think about trying to pick up those few pieces. But there are a few pieces available. Like I know the extravagant boots of malice off of mana tombs when you're leveling is also really good too. There's a lot of good pieces of cloth, leather, or mail pieces that you can pick up in dungeons. So my strategy is going to be built around just kind of spamming dungeons on my way to 70 to try to gear up for that pre-bis.
Yeah, just to add to what I was saying earlier and to build off of what you said, there are a couple of things that you can take from vanilla into TBC that'll still last you a pretty long time as an enhancement shaman. The tried and true thing that makes everybody mad, if you can ever, DKP your way into a Drakefang talisman, that'll last you a while. Slayer's Crest is basically a Bloodlust brooch, which you can get with what's it,
Marks.
Yeah, whatever that currency is called. So if you have a Slayer's Crest, you basically don't have to buy a Bloodlust brooch. And any trinket, like even like a Jam Gabar or like any end game trinket like that, it's gonna last you a pretty long time. So and God, in Nax, like if you can get a misplaced servo arm, that'll take you into Karazhan real easy. So there's definitely things you can take in. And additionally, just from the questing stuff, I had to almost die there too. You can get these leggings. I think it's a quest basically everybody does, like the Shatrath leggings. Special delivery to Shatrath City. I forget exactly, but it's like a quest chain that most people do. These legs, you're going to be wearing them for like multiple phases because they have 22 expertise. And that's definitely something you're going to want to pick up while you're leveling.
So what you're saying is I should get a Drakefang talisman and then upgrade it to a Dragonspine trophy.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that strategy.
You should have a Dragonspine trophy and the flex piece. Even though it's not as good as a Bloodlust brooch, you should have a Slayer's Crest just because.
And I just want to add a couple more Ellie Shaman pieces that I remembered as we were talking here. Eyestalk Wastecord is actually going to be really, really good too, because it just has a just amazing amount of spell power. I think it's 41 spell power, and it also has it has some crit rating on top of that too, which is pretty much your bread and butter when you're talking about Ellie Shamans, as well as the cloak off of KT. And I'm blanking on the name as well for the bracers. The bracers off of Gothic would also be pretty good too to keep for a while because bracer options are kind of iffy.
I can't remember the name of it either.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I usually just go, at least for classic, I just have the bracer arcane accuracy just because of the hit, but I might start looking at the Gothic bracers then too to try to pick those up. So yeah, those Gothic bracers of the name I completely forgot. Cloak in the Acropolis I think is the back piece for KT.
It's the cloak with the skull on it.
Soul Harvester's bindings is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. The cloth bracers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess Resto Shamans are just going to be grabbing gear from leveling up in dungeons.
Well, so Resto are going to have a easy way, right? I mean, if you're playing Horde, if you're playing Alliance, then you're kind of screwed in either way out of it because you're not coming from. I mean, we don't know how long pre-patch is going to be, right? I think it's only going to be like 2 weeks, so it's going to be really hard to get gear from vanilla. But if you are Horde, most of you are Resto. That's just the numbers, right? Most Shaman are Resto. You're probably going to already have Rejuvenating Gem. You're probably going to already have a Scour Brooch. You may even have an Eye of the Dead. You may have a Hibernation Crystal. Like, those are going to last you a very long time. So hold on to those. if you have Hammer, the Twisting Nether, the Shield of Condemnation off KT, those are going to last you a very long time in the Karazhan, most likely. Even some of your Tier 3, your Totem of Life, will last you up until, endgame, Heroics and Karazhan. And then, like, as far as like picking up stuff in dungeons, Scarab of the Infinite Cycle is good. Lower City Prayer Book, make sure you get that through Reputation. I mean,
and Lower City Rep's pretty easy to get from what I remember.
Yeah,
like, you just kind of get exalted with them, and you're like, oh, that.
I think Horde Resto Shamans will have the easiest kind of way because most Shaman are Resto, so they probably have all this stuff.
They're just gonna be searching for that 5-man group to carry them to 70. And be like, come on, guys, I don't want to kill quest mobs. I got.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Nax Bis, you're pretty much set.
I mean, if you're in full Earth Shatterer, you already have an astronomical amount of plus healing and stuff, so you're good.
You already have a really big head start.
Yeah, for Alliance, I feel for you guys, but like,
your Alliance, LOL. Like, you picked the wrong faction, and you're a stupid goat.
Take a stupid goat.
Stupid.
Get outta
blue
here.
goat. Go back to deviant art. Get the out of here.
Oh, the alliance. Yeah, but this is obviously a very horde-centric podcast.
Yeah.
Right now.
Vanilla
Yeah, I mean,
shamans.
come on,
like,
yeah, all shamans.
Exactly. Like we've been playing Shaman already for 2 years, so it's
Yeah.
like
yeah, dude. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Like, what do you
we're all
expect?
horde, obviously, yeah.
There's literally a horde flag
Yeah,
behind
it's-
me. Like what
But
do
I
you
will
want?
say this. I will say this. There's something to say about building yourself up on your own. You know, like because on the beta, when I made my beta character, I played Elemental in my off time. I didn't play Enhancement, right? So I had a nice Elemental set, but I really wanted to play Enhancement. So when I started in beta, I had just the greens. Whatever I actually had an Elemental gear. I leveled an Elemental for a level, got all the green Enhancement gear, and went up from 61 to 70 in greens. And it was a lot of fun because I don't know, you built yourself, like you're a self-made man, and, you know. So there's something cool about that.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah, I leveled it. Enhance on the beta. I made a 58 boost, and I was just killing things. It was hardcore though. We were trying to do a hardcore character with the 58 boost, and we ended up dying in the camp with all the orcs, where you have to light the torches and then throw them and burn the hovels.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of
Hellfire.
casters there that summon skeletons, and they just overwhelmed. There was 2 guys on me, and they overwhelmed me and killed my
It's
character.
probably because you only had like 3,000 health. too.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah.
not the best.
And then the quest rewards are very interesting in that they just don't like give you very much. They give you like 2 really good pieces really quickly, and then you get a bunch of daggers. And then the rest of the game is like, hey, there's no real good item here yet. Like there was a leather piece. Anyway, so it's just coming in from a hardcore perspective, which is not what this video is about, but it's all good. All right, I think it's all about. Is there anything you guys think that we should talk about in Tier 4 that we haven't covered yet? That is something that people should be thinking about as an open question to you all.
I don't know. Just learn your rotation, get better at the new class.
Get
like-
good.
Yeah, just basically get good at the game because
Okay.
Tier 4 is easy compared to everything else.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of little nuances that can kind of propel you from being like, you know, somebody that's a decent shaman to being like a good shaman to a great shaman. There's like a lot of different things. Like for Ellie, for example, like, you know, whenever you have to shift or move, potentially refreshing your totems or potentially using like a frost shock or flame shock on your way over to the destination you have. That's a little bit extra DPS or a little bit extra downtime that you're kind of taking and creating with, you know, movement. You're moving and also casting at the same time. You're not letting any globals go to waste. And I see that a lot with people that are still trying to learn the, you know, Ellie Shaman rotations, as well as just kind of learning mana management as well. There's just try to learn how your character impacts your raid as well as the bosses themselves too.
Yeah, learn how to position yourself. Like with Enhancement, learn how to position yourself and talk to the hunters that you may or may not be in the group with.
Mhm.
Have them make sure they're close to you so they're getting your totems. You know, practice your, you know, totem twisting in part of your rotation and just make that mechanical so you can run around and do everything you need to do without getting rocks dropped on your head and dying, which is going to be something that people are going to have to deal with. So
Yeah, totem twisting is really important. I think a lot of people don't realize how important it's going to be, and don't want to do it. There's been a lot of shamans in the beta that are just flat not doing it.
Yeah.
I was
And,
doing it yesterday. It was
it's-
it was really easy. I thought because it's
Yeah.
It's very easy.
you
it's
have so many
super
open
easy, yeah.
globals as an enhancement shaman. You're just sitting there like, okay, I want to use my abilities. Oh well, I don't like.
And
fire
mana's a non-issue anymore for Enhancement because we have
Yeah.
so many ways to get mana back now. Like again, like if you look at the BIS, and I'll like Jamin, I know that I didn't really show it or talk about it that much, but I'll
That's all
link it to you. But like, dude, none of this gear has intellect. Intellect is a dead stat for
Right.
us because
Yep.
we get so much mana back. With
Yeah, no, I
Shamanistic
was
Rage and Water
having-
Shield and everything.
I was using Shamanistic Rage at like 10% mana, and it was like full mana bar. I was like, here's
Yeah.
all your mana back,
Yeah.
and it's every 2 minutes. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm dumping Fire Nova totems, I'm totem twisting, I'm trying to
Yep.
dump my mana in Karazhan, and I'm doing it. Like I don't have any problems. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
Not only is it an evocate, but like you said, it's every 2 minutes, and you don't have to suffer any damage. Like you're
Yeah.
doing damage while you're
Yeah,
getting the mana
agreed.
back.
Yeah.
A mage has to sit there and channel evocation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just a great cooldown. down.
Yeah.
My God,
Yeah, it's
crazy.
great. And I
And
mean,
it's a wall in PvP too, so it's like fucking great.
it does
Yeah.
so much for us.
Yeah.
It's so
That's
good.
just
It's such a
crazy.
great ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then leveling as well, I was noticing how good it was even for hardcore, and that like, okay, I'm getting all my mana back and I'm taking less damage, so I have to spend less mana on healing myself later, like during this fight. It's just it's a crazy ability. As silly as in PvP, I think is probably where it suffers the most because you have two different use cases for it. But
yeah, there are situations where I've been doing a lot of arena, and there are situations where it's like, I wish I had this later, but I had to use it earlier as a wall. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's one of
The
those.
good news
things
is
where-
at least in PvP, intellect's not a dead stat, and your full gladiator set has int on every piece.
yeah,
True.
So you're gonna have, I don't even know how much more mana, but probably a couple thousand more mana to work with anyway. So
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm just gonna practice in 2s and 3s, just running for my life.
Yeah, I mean that's
just
pretty much
flame
it.
shocking, frost shocking, and earth binding and running. Got it. Grinding totem.
Oh, a lot of fake casting for sure.
I think it's fun. Arena's gonna be fun for Shaman. I know we're not like considered the best, but like especially
It's
in
so
choosing
silly
threes.
too because there's
Yeah.
like so many good comps for Shaman. It's
There
just
are.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
it's not like the class, you know. So everybody's like, oh, must be bad. Even though like the last private server, like some beast cleave team won the whole damn tournament. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
like,
that's the
yeah,
first.
but no,
That's the
enhance
first thing
is
I was
bad, guys.
gravitating
Enhance
towards.
is bad. Don't just
No,
play world.
it's definitely not bad. And there's some
Yeah.
really good comps and really good synergies
Yeah.
with other classes. Like it's crazy.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's-
And then on enhance, you can still pull out the two-hander and just like accidentally kill somebody. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
like, bro, I'm taking the
Yeah.
first gore howl, bro.
Yeah.
And we're gonna just end some warlocks in career.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
over.
Hell yeah, bro.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'll call it there unless you got. But I would like you to plug your stuff, Meldereon. If you wanted to talk about, you got your YouTube channel, you got Def Camp streaming, you got the Brothers Unstoppable over there.
Yeah, I will say one quick thing is
Sure.
like, don't get yourself wrapped up if you don't have all the stuff you need before you go into TBC. We're talking about like a 2-week period, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna be 70 in like less than 2 weeks, right? And I'm already gonna be cranking out endgame content. Like, don't be like, shit, I don't have this thing. The only thing that really matters is phylactery. I don't want to put more pressure on you, but like phylactery would be really good to have, you know, if you're playing elemental or enhancement. But
I agree.
that's the big thing, right? But yeah, so Defcamp Meldereon TV on YouTube, twitch.tv/Defcamp on Twitch.
you have the Shaman Discord, right?
Oh yeah, Shaman Discord. I can give you a link to that if you
Sure.
want to put it in the show notes or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And Holderheck, what are you up to, man? What's your stuff? Where do I find you?
Just go to Google and type in holder heck.
Okay. All right.
So, I mean, yeah, just holder heck on YouTube, holder heck on. I have an offshoot Shaman Discord that I made to make my own personal echo chamber away from people who hate enhancement. It's okay.
Yeah, Enhancement got a lot of hate in vanilla.
Yeah, it got way too
Yeah.
much hate, but it's okay. We're in there. We're doing cool tests. I got my moderators. I got Lockle, Soljera, Harang. They're all doing cool shit while I just yell at people online. And so, you know, I got that. And then, yeah, I guess that's really it. Yeah, just holder heck, Google, stuff will pop up. You'll see me.
Hell yeah. Attack Fang, what's up, man?
Yeah, you can find me on twitch.tv/attackfang. I raid twice a week, and sometimes I bang my head against the wall. But, you know, it's still fun content. You know, always trying to stream LA Shaman stuff. I also have the Discord I'm a part of. I'm part of all 3 Discords, pretty much, like between the classic LA Shaman, or the classic LA Shaman Discord, which is now going to be converted to classic NTBC. There's the original Shaman Discord, and then also Holderheck's Discord as well. So I'm usually pretty active in all 3. So if you have any questions of anything and LA Shaman related, just please let me know. I'll be very happy to answer them.
Hell yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it so much. And yeah, appreciate it.